Good morning. Today is the 20th of March 2024 and I'm going to go through my levels for today's trading. But before we start, let's take a look at the news, and there's one big news of interest today, and that is the FOMC, the Fed interest rate decision at 2 p.m. and then that could move the market quite significantly. And then at 2:30 we've got the press conference. So bear in mind we've got that up and coming. It may be a bit of a slower day. Anything else? We've got oil coming at 10:30, and that's it really compared to FOMC. There's not much more. So that's today. Tomorrow, anything major tomorrow? Nothing major tomorrow, but today's the big one, FOMC. That's at 2 p.m. Okay, so on my screen is the ES, which is the S&P 500 E-mini futures, and I'm looking at the 1 hour time frame. Like we always like to do, start off with the higher time frame, work our way down, and you can see on the daily chart, which we've got open now, we've kind of not really broken above this area here. We put in this nice top and tail candle yesterday, kind of a reversal sign, same as that top and tail candle there, kind of showing weakness. We've also got decline in volume on the daily as we're pulling back up into this area. But with FOMC today, can't help but think maybe the market's got its intention somewhere and it's looking for something to break out. Potentially we're all back at that same level now, and maybe we're looking for a big push up today. But we'll have to wait and see what FOMC brings us. Also, it could be the opposite event. We could be just kind of rounding off, volumes declining, waiting for this ascending triangle to push down as well. So until we know what happens today, who knows? So just keep an eye on that. So let's take a look at the hourly and let's pick up some levels for today. So we've got these two pivots, all-time high up here. Oh, that's a bit of a big candle. So let's go with that. We've got this all-time high candle there, kind of came up into the highs over here as well. And we've got this area of supply. We're back up in that area of supply right now. And so I'm kind of watching for a 52.50, 52.50 rejection kind of into this area up here. And you can see that's the body of candles there, the tops of these candles there, and we've seen big reactions at these points. We saw this big reaction down there, big reaction down there. We haven't really been back up there yet, so potentially FOMC may take it up and then bring it back down, but we'll find out. We could just drift up that way as well. We're still in a daily uptrend, but just note the decline in volume we just talked about as well, as market prices increasing over the last few days. We've also got this trend line going back to October. Bottom of this pivot here kind of connects to that low there, and then we can come in and you can see we've broken it, we've tried, we tested it, came through, came back out, came through, kind of poked through it, and we're holding this trend line. And it's not really a line, it's more of a area, so we can be watching this particular area here. You know, we could be watching that area. So this is a zone rather than a line. And in fact, if you draw that in, you can see we came in, we touched it a few times. Touched it there, there, there. So we kind of keep an eye on that. So it looks like it's holding its support, and what we could see is a breakdown, pull back to retest. We were looking for a big breakdown with a bit of a daylight gap through that trend line if we're going to see a change of direction. But today is the type of day which can cause a change of directions. FOMC could be could give us a big push back up, or equally it could show us a big reversal. So let's just come up with some levels for bounces. So I like the rejection, this point here, 52.50, 52.52 for a rejection, as we just spoke about. We've got a higher risk bounce area, or it's a break and retest short, and that's at 51.32 area, this area here. You can see we had previous pivots. Let's just come back a bit. So we had a previous pivot coming down kind of in that area down there. These pivots have touched it as well. We came back down here, we kind of hovered around it yesterday. And we've got bottoms of candles, tops of candles, tops of candles. It's higher risk, so this one I would take with confirmation only. If we can catch a breakdown of this area, we kind of got there's a bit of volume down, but until we get into this volume, we've got this point of control coming right through, and you can see it's linking all of the pivots together, all the main areas together. And potentially we can watch 52, and it's a round number as well, 5200. So we can watch 5200, 5202 for a bounce. So I'm kind of watching for a bounce off of this area here, and you could probably draw a little micro trend in. Maybe that will give us the area we might be going. So yeah, look at, we can look for a bounce at 5202. It's kind of what I've got drawn up already. So let's watch that for a bounce. And then finally, we've got, this is kind of a new area of demand right now. It's a big area of demand. It kind of goes from the bottom of that candle to there. So we can watch 5170, but I prefer if we get back down into this area, 5150 is a round number, 5150. So that's kind of the area I'm looking for, a bounce. And we've had more touches down here as well. We've only had one bounce. What is it? We've had that there, we had a smaller one there. Oh, lost my mouse. So we had that small one there, kind of there. So it is an area, but further down, if we just zoom out a bit, it's a bigger area of hourly demand, because we've got strong levels here, strong levels here, strong levels there, there, there. I missed that one there. And so if it comes back down into that area, I'm kind of looking for a bounce around the 5150 area. And potentially we've got 5120 down here, which has also had lots of strong levels, you know, tops and bottoms as well. So that's these two areas I'm watching for a bounce. And that's it really. Play it simple today. I'll just quickly recap the levels again. So I'm watching for a rejection on this level here, 52.52, and that's based on the tops of these two candles. I'm looking for a higher risk bounce around the pre-market low area, or I'm looking for a break and retest short, and I want to bring it down into 52.02 where I'm looking for a bounce, and sorry, 52.30, 52.31 I'm looking for the higher risk bounce, and that's just an area confluence. There's lots of volume up here, as you can see, and then we've kind of got this point of control, the highest amount of volume in this area. So we know this is quite a significant area down here. So we have to break through that and get down into the area. I'm really watching for a higher risk, a more high probability bounce on the bottom of this trend line at 5200, and obviously 5200 is a psychological number. But if FOMC does give us a big down day, then we're watching for 51.55 for a particular bounce, and 51.25 for a bounce as well. Or look for confirmation within these green areas of demand. So let's go on to SPY next. It's going to be exactly the same scenarios. You can see it looks like it's curving over. So it's kind of putting in higher high, higher high, and then a higher low, potential higher low. Same as ES. So kind of watching for a rejection up here. Let's draw it in. Look for the most touches of candles, it's going to be there. So 517.90. I want to look for top of these bodies, and then bottoms and tops of these bodies candles. Trying to find the most touches to find a significant area where there could be volume. So 517.90 for a rejection. Or we can watch, I think my battery might need replacing, or my mouse. Or we can look for a bounce down in this area, 51, 511.70, 512, this area for a bounce. and that's basically looking at these tops of candles. It's not the best area. The best area is off of this yellow line. This is the weekly 508.80, 509 area. Got major hourly levels there, as you can see, tops and bottoms, and area confluence. So that's kind of why I like this area more for a bounce at 508.80 to 509. Okay, that's it for NQ. Next. Again, NQ is looking much weaker than ES. ES is kind of getting up here with the all-time highs area. NQ is right down here. If we're going to see big buy-in today, then the NQ, the tech sector, needs to at least put in a big green day for ES to also put in a green day. They kind of go with each other. But we are in an hourly downtrend, but we are breaking that hourly downtrend, you can see here. So if we were to put the tops and bottoms together, we kind of poked through here, came back down, we broke through, and now we're kind of back down, retest and long. So potentially looking for a long. This slight change of trend down here. You could say it's an inverse head and shoulders. This is the left shoulder, this is the wonky head, and this is the right shoulder, and the neckline could potentially be along here. And we can look for a break and retest of pre-market high. We do have a target of, so the break and retest is at 18,330 with a target potentially at 18,390, so a little bit of movement. And then we've got this area of confluence as well. We look tops, 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 and tops pivots. So potentially 18,400 as a target. We can watch for a break and retest of the pre-market, and that could also be a rejection point as well. Hard to find one, probably one there as well. And then the best place I can find is up here. So these are the levels I'm watching for potential rejections or targets if you're long. 8416, 18504, 18500 round number. So probably this one will be the better one of the two because of the round number, the psychological number. And 18600, 18613 for rejection. Bounces, we're kind of holding this area. So this area here is area of confluence. Yesterday's low, you see we poked through and bounced. So 18100, a nice round number as well. And what I'm looking at is bottoms of the most areas of touches where tops and bottoms of candles are there, area of confluence. And then obviously we've got this big area of demand down here. Change that to demand. And that would be, we can look for a bounce down that area. Because last time we came down there, we saw this big reaction. Qs, not too dissimilar. We can put in the trend line. Let's do that now. You could be watching that trend line, same as ES, where we kind of poked through, came back down, came back. Look at that nice retest of the trend line and the push up. That was yesterday. Same levels as previously with 442 for a potential rejection. This area probably, this area is a zone. I can't really get it. So this entire area we can watch for a break and retest long, and that's a pre-market high as well, 440.30, or a potential rejection off of that pivot. But we have broken out through this trend line and potentially changing the trend a bit. And it bounces down at 432. I've got 430, that goes back a while, but probably the best area as we had earlier, 423, 422. SPX. I keep an eye on SPX when I'm trading ES and SPY because I don't want to be going long into a trade on ES if SPX is coming into an area of resistance or supply. Got all-time highs at 51.88. So you can watch 5200 for a reject today, and then 5100 for a bounce, kind of round back down to where this level is here. They're the two areas I'm really watching. Nothing really in between, we're just going sideways. And obviously I would take ES longs if we're kind of looking for a bounce, or ES shorts for a rejection. But obviously we're up in no man's land, but 5200 is the only round number, psychological number, where we could see a reject. Lots of limit orders sitting there. I'd use order flow, and I'll be looking for lots of sellers, potential sellers sitting up there. Gold is still, look at that, kind of honouring this trend line we put in. We can wait for a break and retest above the trend line and above the 200 moving average, or we can look for the breakdown below that value there, which is bottoms of candles, tops of candles, bottoms. So 2150, break and retest low, happens to be the pre-market, yesterday's low, that area. Or we can look for pre-market high, break and retest long, and that would have broken the structure as well. So let's just put that level in. And you could say it's an area of confluence. It's tops of that pivot from today, bottoms of this confluence, kind of the tops of that area. Bottoms of candles, through the middle, bottoms of those candles. Where does it go back? Here we go, look at that, yeah, bottoms, 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 tops. So yeah, so let's watch for a break and retest off the pre-market high level. I quite like that. Or the break below. Oil, crude oil. It's finally broken this uptrend. Let's just link the pivots. So that's kind of our uptrend, broke structure today. So we can look for a pullback into the yesterday's low for rejection. And that's the only play I can see. The next bounce area is here. And watch for a bounce if it gets down to $80. RTY. I'm not the biggest fan of RTY, but I still keep an eye on the levels. Let's put the trend line in. We've broken this trend as also. Look at that, kind of trailing that trend. So we can watch for a breakout over yesterday's high, which would have broken this trend line. I didn't draw it very accurately. Let's put the magnet back on. Strange, it's not letting me select it. Why is that? That's because I've locked it. Wrong button. Here we go, so put that in there, let's put that there, might give us a more accurate level. It hasn't changed much, so break and retest off the pre-market low, pre-market high really, which is this level here, and that would have broken out, potentially break out over that trend line, come back in for the bounce side. And as for a bounce area, kind of yesterday's low, could watch this point of control area, so this area here for a bounce, and that's basically looking at bottoms of all these candles, tops of these candles, and then kind of bottoms and tops there, and then we kind of touched it yesterday. So two levels really. Point of control area, so 2033 bounce, which we already bounced already, and 2090, 28.7 rejection. 10 minutes ago to market opened. Oh, I'm not a big fan of this chart. You can see that level there quite clearly. So we can watch 39.545 for a break and retest long. Just put it in this level here, and what I'm looking for, we've got bottoms of candles, bottoms of candles, bottoms and tops, 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 tops. Kind of came down and held it. Now it became the ceiling, so we want to break out of that area for a long, kind of going sideways. We've got to break out through, either out through that area or out through that area. And I want to see some sort of movement, either break down or break up. But you know, today's the days when these type of movements happen. FOMC might see something move. They're the only plays I can see really. There's a few levels in between you can watch for. You've got this area here as well. I'll just draw levels in, and if you're interested, just take a screenshot. And that's it. Kind of that area. And remember, these levels are not levels, lines in the sand. They are just regions to watch for. And then we can watch up here as well. About there, and then you've got all-time high area up here as well. I think that's all-time highs, yeah. So that's it. They're the only areas of interest. Hopefully we'll keep an eye on them, because you know, we generally move between these zones. And then lastly, Bitcoin is doing what I said it was going to do. If you recall, a few weeks ago I said I'm starting to come out of my holdings. I saw this volume spike. I've got to get rid of that. I saw this volume spike come in, so I kind of took some out on this red line. It was, in fact, where I took it out was coming down into it. There, should have taken it out on this one. That's where I should have taken it out, and I was planning to, but I got greedy. And then I saw this next volume spike, and so I got out. I think as we were then going up, I pulled back. I got out on this way up, and then I got out again when we put in this bottom tail candle there on this, so these red lines where I got out. And it's not a big amount, but what I'm holding is I'm hoping to get back down to the 50 or down to the 52,000 area, and I'll put some of that profit back in again. But I'm waiting for it to come back down to the 200 or the 40,000 region, put the rest of it in. And that's it. Let's have a look at ES, see if it's changed over the last few minutes. Nope. Market opens in 7 minutes, so trade safe, and that's it. Next after this will be the live stream of order flow. It's worth keeping an eye on that, because it shows you market divergence. So when you'll see quite clearly if the market's diverging against the price, there's more buyers or sellers. So that's my next live stream. That'll be all day. Okay, thank you for watching.